The secret to identifying liars and time wasters before they hurt you. The value of your time. Your time is the most valuable resource you have, but protecting it starts with understanding your worth. Think about it. If you don't know what you stand for or what you're working toward, how will you know when someone is wasting your time? You see, manipulators and liars are experts at finding cracks in your confidence. They prey on uncertainty. If you assure yourself, they'll swoop in, telling you what you want to hear, convincing you to follow their path instead of your own. That's why everything starts with knowing your worth. When you know your worth, you stop settling for less. You don't waste energy chasing validation from people who don't respect you. Instead, you set the standard for how you want to be treated. People often struggle with this because they don't take the time to reflect on who they are or what matters most to them. They get caught up in the opinions of others, trying to fit into molds that don't align with their true selves. But here's the truth. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's opinion. It's defined by your values, your goals, and the unique qualities you bring to the table. The first step is getting clear on your purpose. Ask yourself, what do I want out of life? What are my non-negotiables? What am I working toward? This clarity acts like a filter. It helps you identify who belongs in your life and who doesn't. When someone's actions or intentions don't align with your goals, it becomes much easier to spot them as a time waster. For example, suppose your goal is to build meaningful, supportive relationships, and someone is constantly disrespecting your boundaries or taking more than they give. In that case, you'll recognize that they don't align with your purpose. But knowing your worth isn't just about recognizing the wrong people. It's also about attracting the right ones. When you carry yourself with confidence and a clear sense of purpose, you naturally draw in people who respect and value you. Think about it. If you walk into a room uncertain of who you are, manipulators will see that as an opportunity. But if you enter with your head held high, knowing exactly what you bring to the table, they'll think twice about trying to deceive you. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be perfect or have everything figured out. Knowing your worth is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly checking in with yourself, refining your goals, and making adjustments as you grow. Along the way, you'll face challenges that test your confidence. You might encounter people who try to make you doubt yourself, who undermine your abilities or question your decisions. But when you've taken the time to build a strong foundation of self-awareness, those doubts won't shake you. Part of knowing your worth is also understanding that not everyone will see it, and that's okay. You're not here to please everyone or gain everyone's approval. Some people will misunderstand you, judge you, or even try to bring you down. Don't let that deter you. Their inability to see your value says more about them than it does about you. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. Protecting your time means being selective about who gets access to you. It means saying no to people and situations that don't serve your growth. It means refusing to lower your standards just to fit in or make someone else comfortable. This might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to putting others before yourself. But remember, every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your worth, you're saying yes to your goals, your growth, and your future. The beauty of knowing your worth is that it creates a ripple effect. When you value yourself, you inspire others to do the same. You set an example for your friends, your family, and even strangers. They see how you carry yourself and how you demand respect, and they start to reflect on their worth. This is how you create a life filled with meaningful connections and genuine opportunities. At the end of the day, knowing your worth is about taking control of your life. It's about realizing that you have the power to choose who and what gets your time and energy. And when you truly understand your value, manipulators and liars lose their grip on you. They can't deceive you because you built a foundation of self-awareness and confidence that they can't break. And that, my friend, is the first and most powerful step toward protecting yourself from time wasters and living a life that aligns with your highest potential. Self-awareness first. Your intuition is your radar, your internal compass. It's that quiet voice that nudges you when something feels off, even if you can't quite put your finger on why. The problem is too often we ignore it, we rationalize, we overthink, or worse, we let other people talk us out of what we already know deep down. It's the difference between staying in control of your life and being manipulated by someone who doesn't have your best interests at heart. Think about this. How many times have you had that gut feeling and then later said to yourself, I knew it. I should have trusted my instincts. It happens because your subconscious picks up on things that your conscious mind hasn't fully processed yet. The way someone's tone doesn't match their words. The inconsistency in their story. The little micro expressions on their face when they think you're not paying attention. Your gut is reading these signs faster than your mind can articulate them. And it's trying to warn you. Here's the thing. Liars and manipulators are smooth. They've often had years to perfect their craft. They'll tell you what you want to hear. They'll act the part, play the victim, or pretend to be your biggest cheerleader. But one thing they can't fake: consistency. Somewhere, somehow, their words and actions won't line up, and your gut will catch it. That's why it's so important to tune into it. It's not paranoia, it's protection. When your gut tells you something is off, please don't ignore it. Pause. Reflect. Ask yourself, what exactly is making me feel this way? Sometimes the answer will come quickly, like a flash of clarity. Oh, they've told this story before, but the details are different now. Or they're avoiding eye contact when I ask certain questions. Other times, it might be a subtler, nagging feeling. That's okay. Please don't dismiss it. Instead, start observing more closely. You don't need to confront the person right away or jump to conclusions. Just collect data. Watch their patterns, their behavior, and their reactions. Let's be real, society doesn't always encourage us to trust our intuition. We're told to give people the benefit of the doubt, not to judge too quickly, to be polite. And while there's merit in being fair and understanding, there is a line. When someone's behavior consistently makes you question their intentions, you owe it to yourself to prioritize your peace of mind over politeness. Your gut isn't asking you to be rude, it's asking you to be cautious, trusting. Your intuition also means being okay with not having all the answers right away. This ball is not about 7 levels of thinking. It's not about gaining 7 levels of knowledge and 7 levels of thinking. It's about aroma and representation. Manipulators thrive on creating confusion. They want you second guessing yourself, wondering if you're overreacting or imagining things. Don't fall for it. Your intuition doesn't need a full PowerPoint presentation of evidence to be valid. It's enough to say something doesn't feel right and I need to step back and assess the situation further. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. This doesn't mean you become suspicious of everyone or isolate yourself from relationships. It means you develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. You learn to discern the difference between fear, which might come from past trauma or insecurity, and intuition, which is grounded in your present reality. If you're unsure, take time to check in with yourself. Meditate, journal, or talk to someone you trust. The clearer you are about your own emotions and boundaries, the easier it becomes to differentiate between your inner wisdom and external noise. Here's the bottom line. Your intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start small. Pay attention to how people make you feel in everyday interactions. Notice when someone's energy drains you or lifts you. Reflect on situations where you ignored your gut in the past and what the consequences were. Build that relationship with yourself so that when the big moments come, when someone's charm is masking manipulation or when their words don't match their actions, you're ready. You'll recognize the signs, trust your instincts, and take the necessary steps to protect yourself. Your intuition is your first line of defense against liars, manipulators, and time wasters. It's always speaking to you. Quietly, steadily, and without bias. The question is, are you listening? Red flags are real. Promises are powerful tools. They can inspire hope, build trust, and create connections. But here's the hard truth. Promises on their own are meaningless without action to back them up. Patterns, not promises, reveal the true nature of a person. And if you're serious about protecting your time and energy, you need to train yourself to look beyond words and focus on what someone consistently does. Think about it. Anyone can say the right thing. It's easy to make promises at the moment. I'll be there for you. I've got your back. I'll never let you down. Those words sound great, and they might even come with good intentions. But intentions alone won't cut it. Patterns aren't hard to spot if you're paying attention. They're there in the small, everyday moments. Maybe it's that friend who always promises to catch up but flakes at the last minute. Or the coworker who says they'll help with a project but conveniently forgets every time you ask. Or the partner who makes big sweeping declarations of love but fails to show up when you need them most. Paradoxes tell you the truth that words can't. When someone consistently disregards your time, cancels plans without notice, or fails to follow through on their commitments, they're showing you their priority. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If their actions don't align with their words, you're probably not one of those priorities. That doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means they're not willing to value you in the way you deserve. It's tempting to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially if you care about them. You might tell yourself, they didn't mean to cancel, or they're just going through a tough time. But while compassion is important, it's not an excuse to ignore patterns. Because the more you overlook someone's repeated behavior, the more you enable it. And manipulators count on that. They count on your patience, your forgiveness, and your willingness to accept excuses. But here's the good news. Once you start recognizing patterns, you regain control. You're no longer swept up in empty promises or false hope. You can make informed decisions about who deserves your time and energy. If someone shows you over and over again that they can't be relied upon, you're within your right to walk away. See, that's not being harsh or unkind. That's setting a standard for how you deserve to be treated. When you focus on patterns, you also become less susceptible to emotional manipulation. Manipulators often use promises as a way to string you along. They'll say things like, I'll change, or next time will be different, knowing full well they won't follow through. They rely on your hope and optimism to keep you invested. But once you start looking at their track record instead of their words, their power over you diminishes. You can see them for who they really are, people who aren't willing to put in the effort to match their words with actions. And let's be clear, this isn't just about spotting manipulators or liars. It's also about setting a higher standard for yourself and the people in your life. When you prioritize patterns over promises, you're saying, I value consistency. I value honesty. I value actions that align with words. That shift not only helps you avoid time wasters, but also attracts people who share those values. The takeaway is simple. Promises can be broken, but patterns reveal character. Look for consistency. Pay attention to actions. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Because your time is too valuable to waste on people who aren't willing to follow through. Listen, don't just hear. Boundaries are one of the most powerful tools you can use to protect yourself from manipulators, liars, and time wasters. The truth is, boundaries are not about controlling other people. They're about teaching others how to treat you by showing them what you will and won't tolerate. Too often, people shy away from setting boundaries because they're afraid of being seen as rude, difficult, or selfish. But let me tell you something. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect. And the people who genuinely value and respect you will honor those boundaries. The ones who don't, when you don't set boundaries, you open the door for people to overstep, take advantage, and drain your energy. Think about this. If you always say yes to every request, every favor, and every demand, you're teaching people that your time is invaluable, that they can use it as they please. It's not their fault if they keep asking. It's your responsibility to set the limit. The manipulators love people without boundaries. Why? Because they can exploit them. They can guilt trip you, push your buttons, and take without giving back, knowing you'll let it slide. But when you draw a line and stick to it, you're sending a clear message. I value myself and my time, and I won't let you cross this line. Now, setting boundaries isn't always easy. For a lot of people, it feels uncomfortable. At first, you might worry about hurting someone's feelings or coming across as harsh, but think about this. Would you rather feel a little awkward now or deal with the frustration and resentment that builds up when someone keeps disrespecting your time? The discomfort of setting a boundary is temporary. The damage caused by letting someone trample over you can last much longer. Boundaries are a way of protecting your peace, and peace is priceless. It's also important to remember that boundaries are not just about saying no. They're about being clear about what you need, what you expect, and what you're willing to tolerate. For example, if someone constantly cancels plans at the last minute, your boundary might be, I'm happy to meet up. But if you cancel again without notice, I won't make plans with you in the future. If a colleague keeps dumping their work on you, your boundary might be, I'm here to support the team, but I can't take on additional tasks without sacrificing my own responsibilities. So outside of the building blocks, I play my personal payoff first. I personally believe the rest of your life is for you. I want you to have flexibilities. These statements are firm but respectful. They communicate your limits without attacking the other person. Here's the thing. Boundaries mean nothing if you don't enforce them. People will test you, intentionally or unintentionally. They'll see how far they can push. And if you let one violation slide, they'll keep going. Enforcing boundaries takes consistency. It's not about getting angry or defensive. If someone ignores your boundary, remind them of it. If they continue to disregard it, you may need to reconsider their place in your life. They're about giving people the chance to respect your limits. But if they consistently show they don't care, that's a red flag you shouldn't ignore. Another critical point about boundaries is that they're not static. As you grow and evolve, your boundaries may change. What you were okay with a year ago might not work for you now, and that's fine. The key is to regularly check in with yourself and adjust your boundaries as needed. And while setting boundaries can sometimes lead to tough conversations or even losing people from your life, the truth is that losing someone who doesn't respect you is not a loss. It's a gain. You gain freedom, peace, and room for people who genuinely care about you. Ultimately, boundaries are about prioritizing your well-being. They're about saying, I matter, my time matters, my peace matters. And when you start living with that mindset, you'll notice a shift. The manipulators, liars, and time wasters will begin to fall away, and the people who truly value you will step up. It's a simple truth. You teach people how to treat you. So teach them that you worth respecting because you are. Power of boundaries. Manipulators are masters of disguise. They know how to twist situations to their advantage, and they're skilled at making you doubt yourself. One of their most effective weapons is emotional manipulation. They'll guilt trip you, playing on your emotions to make you feel obligated to do things you don't want to do. They might say things like, I can't believe you do this to me, or if you really cared, you'd help me out. These statements are designed to make you feel like you're the problem, even when you're not. It's a psychological trick that shifts the blame away from them and onto you, creating a sense of guilt that they can exploit. Another tactic manipulators use is love bombing. This is when they shower you with excessive attention, affection, and praise at the beginning of a relationship or interaction. It feels good at first. You think you found someone who genuinely values you, but the reality is, it's a setup. Once they've hooked you emotionally, they'll start pulling back, using that initial affection as leverage to control you. They might say things like, you're not the same anymore, or why can't you just be the way you were when we met? To make you chase the version of them they showed you in the beginning. Love bombing is about creating dependency. It's not love, it's manipulation. Gaslighting is another common tactic. This is when someone makes you question your reality, your memory, or your perceptions. They might outright deny things they've said or done, even if you have proof. For example, they might say, I never said that, or you're overreacting, even when you know they did or said something hurtful. The goal of gaslighting is to make you doubt yourself so much that you start relying on them for your sense of reality. Over time, this erodes your confidence and leaves you vulnerable to further manipulation. Manipulators also thrive on creating a sense of urgency. They'll pressure you into making quick decisions by saying things like, if you don't act now, you'll miss out, or this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This rush prevents you from taking the time to think things through and see the situation clearly. They want you to act impulsively because impulsive decisions often work in their favor. When someone is rushing you, take a step back. Real opportunities don't vanish overnight. And anyone who respects you will give you the time to think. Another red flag is inconsistency. Manipulators and liars rarely maintain a steady story of behavior over time. They'll say one thing today and something completely different tomorrow, hoping you won't notice the discrepancy. When you call them out on it, they'll deflect, deny, or even get angry to shift the focus away from their inconsistencies. This is why paying attention to patterns is so important. One-off incidents can happen to anyone, but repeated behavior tells a story. And it's often one of deceit when dealing with manipulators. You might also notice a tendency to play the victim. They'll recount stories of how others have wronged them or how hard their life has been, trying to gain your sympathy. While empathy is a good quality, manipulators use it as a tool to lower your defenses. This is how you experience it again. They know that if you feel sorry for them, you will be less likely to question their motives or hold them accountable for their actions. Lastly, manipulators often isolate you from others. They want to be the dominant voice in your life, so they'll subtly or overtly discourage you from spending time with friends and family. They might say things like, I don't think your friends really care about you, or your family doesn't understand you like I do. This isolation makes it easier for them to control you because you have fewer outside perspectives to challenge their influence. Recognizing these tactics is the first step in protecting yourself. Once you see the patterns, you can set boundaries and distance yourself from manipulative individuals. Trust your instincts, Hold on to your confidence and remember that real relationships don't require manipulation. True connections are built on honesty, respect, and mutual care. Not to see control X, T in control 6, speak louder than words. When it comes to holding people accountable, it's not just about calling someone out or pointing fingers. It's about setting a standard, your standard, and making it clear that you take your time, energy, and relationships seriously. Accountability is a measure of respect, both for yourself and for the people in your life. If someone makes a commitment to you, whether it's a promise, a plan, or even too often, we let things slide because we don't want to come off as confrontational or difficult. Maybe we tell ourselves it's not a big deal or they probably had a good reason, but here's the truth. When you make excuses for other people's lack of follow through, you're teaching them that it's okay to disrespect your time. It might feel easier at the moment to let things go, but in the long run, it chips away at the foundation of trust and respect in any relationship. Accountability isn't about being harsh. It's about being clear. When someone breaks a promise or fails to meet an expectation, the first step is to address it directly. Avoid passive-aggressive comments or subtle hints. Be straightforward. For example, if a friend consistently cancels plans at the last minute, don't just brush it off. Say something like, hey, I've noticed you've canceled a few times lately. Is everything okay? I value our time together, but it feels like it's not a priority right now. This kind of approach isn't accusatory. It's honest and invites a conversation. Now, here's the thing about accountability. It goes both ways. If you're going to hold others to a high standard, you need to hold yourself to that same standard. Are you keeping your promises? Are you respecting other people's time and energy? If you want people to take you seriously, you've got to walk the talk. Integrity isn't just something you demand from others. It's something you live out daily. Another critical aspect of accountability is consistency. If you call someone out once but let it slide the next time, you're sending mixed signals. People will only take your boundaries seriously if you enforce them consistently. This doesn't mean you have to be rigid or unforgiving. Life happens, and sometimes people have valid reasons for falling short. But even in those cases, it's important to have a conversation about what happened and how things can improve moving forward. Holding people accountable also requires you to be prepared for their reactions. Not everyone will take it well. Some might get defensive, while others might try to turn the situation around and make it seem like you're the one being unreasonable. Stay calm and focused. Remind yourself that accountability isn't about conflict, it's about clarity and mutual respect. If someone reacts poorly to being held accountable, that's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of their unwillingness to take responsibility. One of the most empowering things about accountability is that it weeds out the people who don't deserve a place in your life. When you start holding people to a standard, some will rise to the occasion while others will fall away, and that's okay. The people who truly value you will appreciate your honesty and respect your boundaries. They'll understand that accountability isn't about perfection. It's about effort, commitment, and respect. Remember, every time you hold someone accountable, you're reinforcing your own self-worth. You're saying, I deserve to be treated with respect. My time is valuable. My energy is valuable. And that's a message not just for the people around you, but for yourself as well. Accountability isn't just a tool for relationships. It's a tool for self-respect and personal growth. By holding others accountable, you create a culture of trust and respect in your relationships. You set the tone for how you want to be treated, and more importantly, how you treat yourself. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Manipulation. Into the people you allow into your life, the quality of those relationships matters more than the quantity. It's not about having a big circle. It's about having the right circle. Growth-minded people are the ones who challenge you, push you to become the best version of yourself, and stand by you as you pursue your goals. They're not just present when things are easy, they're there when the path gets tough. These are the kinds of people who don't just sit back and watch you struggle. They step in and encourage you and remind you of your potential when you forget it yourself. Surrounding yourself with growth-oriented individuals isn't just about being inspired. It's about creating an environment where your success becomes inevitable. Think about this. When you're in the company of people who are always complaining, gossiping, or making excuses, it's easy to fall into those same habits. Negativity is contagious. If you spend too much time around people who don't value growth, you might start doubting your dreams or questioning whether striving for more is even worth it. These people don't mean to hold you back, but their lack of ambition and direction can slowly drain your energy. On the other hand, being around people who are constantly striving to improve, who set goals and work relentlessly to achieve them, shifts your mindset. Their drive inspires you to aim higher. Their focus becomes a model for your own. They lift you up simply by showing what's possible. These are people who will call you out when you slack it, or when you're making excuses for not putting in the work. They're the ones who challenge your perspectives, encourage you to think critically, and push you to step out of your comfort zone. But here's the key. They do all this from a place of love and respect. They're not trying to tear you down, they're building you up. It's not just about what they give to you, though. Being around growth-oriented people also requires you to show up as your best self. They expect the same level of commitment, effort, and accountability from you as they give. This kind of mutual respect creates a powerful dynamic where everyone benefits. You're not just receiving inspiration, you're contributing to it. This creates a feedback loop of growth that propels everyone involved toward their goals. It's a two-way street where both parties are invested in each other's success. Another thing about growth-minded people is that they respect your time and boundaries. These are the individuals who understand the value of time because they value their own. They don't waste your energy with petty drama, manipulation, or half-hearted commitments. If they say they're going to do something, they follow through. If they can't, they communicate that openly. Their reliability and respect for your time set the standard for a relationship you should accept in your life. But finding these people takes intention. You have to seek out environments where they gather actively. This means joining communities or groups aligned with your interests, attending events where ambitious people are present, or even reaching out to someone you admire. It's about being willing to step outside of your usual circle and opening yourself up to connections that challenge and inspire you. Sometimes creating space for growth-oriented individuals also means letting go of people who aren't aligned with your vision. This doesn't mean you need to cut everyone off, but you do need to evaluate how much time and energy you're investing in relationships that don't serve your growth. Are the people around you helping you move forward, or are they holding you back? When you build a circle of people who are focused on growth, it's like planting seeds in fertile soil. These relationships nourish your goals, push you to stay consistent, and remind you of your potential every step of the way. Growth doesn't happen in isolation. It occurs in an environment that challenges you, supports you, and demands that you show up every day ready to do the work. Surrounding yourself with growth-oriented people is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your future. You want to be better? It's a choice that will pay dividends for years to come. Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to protecting yourself from liars, manipulators, and time wasters. That gut feeling is not just some random thought or baseless anxiety. It's your mind and body picking up on subtle cues that your conscious brain hasn't fully processed yet. It's the quiet voice inside you that says, something about this doesn't feel right. The problem is too often we ignore it. We rationalize, we overthink, or worse, we convince ourselves that we're overreacting. In our conversation today, I'm intentionally bringing my callers on, but here's the truth. Your intuition is rarely wrong. Think back to times in your life when you had a feeling something was off. Maybe it was with a friend, a partner, or even a colleague. You couldn't quite put your finger on it, but there was something about their words, their tone, or the way they acted that didn't add up. If you're honest with yourself, you probably ignored that feeling. Or even worse, it was a billionaire. And what happened? Later on, you found out that your gut was right all along. Immediately. The thing about intuition is that it's not always loud. It's not going to jump up and down, waving red flags in your face. It's subtle. It might be a fleeting thought or a vague uneasiness, but just because it's subtle doesn't mean it's not important. Your intuition is like an internal alarm system. It's based on your past experiences, your observations, and your subconscious picking up on inconsistencies or danger signals. It's a survival mechanism, and ignoring it can lead to regret, wasted time, or even emotional harm. One reason people ignore their intuition is that they're afraid of being wrong. They don't want to seem paranoid, judgmental, or unfair. But here's the thing. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean you immediately jump into conclusions. Doesn't mean you're accusing someone of something without evidence. What it means is that you're paying attention to your own feelings and taking them seriously. If something feels off, you don't have to act impulsively, but you do need to investigate further, observe more closely, ask questions, and most importantly, give yourself permission to step back if you need to. Another reason we dismiss our intuition is because we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's not a bad thing. It shows you have empathy and a willingness to see the good in others. But there's a fine line between giving someone a chance and ignoring clear warning signs. Manipulators and liars are skilled at creating doubt in your mind. They might say all the right things, play the victim, or make you question your own perception. They'll use charm, flattery, or even guilt to make you second guess yourself. That's why trusting your intuition is so important. It cuts through the noise. Listening to your gut also requires you to be in tune with yourself. If you're constantly busy, distracted, or stressed, you might miss the signals your intuition is trying to send. That's why self-awareness and self-care are so crucial. Take the time to reflect on how you feel in certain situations and around certain people. Does someone's presence leave you feeling drained or uneasy? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells trying to please them? Those feelings are your intuition trying to tell you something. Sometimes your intuition might tell you to walk away from a situation or person even when there's no proof that they're doing anything wrong. That can be hard. It's uncomfortable to make decisions based on a feeling, especially if others don't understand or support your choice. But you have to remember, your intuition is there to protect you. It doesn't need to explain itself to anyone else. If stepping away brings you peace of mind, that's all the proof you need at the end of the day. Trusting your intuition is about valuing yourself enough to listen to your inner voice. It's about giving yourself permission to prioritize your well-being over someone else's opinions or expectations. Your time, energy, and emotional health are too precious to waste on people who don't deserve them. So when your gut speaks, Listen, it might just save you from a heartache, wasted time, or regret. Trust it, honor it, and let it guide you to the people and situations that truly align with your worth. Accountability is key. Accountability is often the first thing people overlook when it comes to relationships, both personal and professional. We live in a world where promises are made but rarely kept, and excuses are more common than actions. But let me tell you something, holding people accountable is a game changer. It's not just about expecting others to do what they say they will do, it's about demanding integrity, consistency, and respect for your time and energy. When people fail to live up to their word, it's a clear sign that something is wrong, and it's your job to address it. Think about the last time someone made a promise to you. Whether it was a friend saying they'd help you with something, a colleague offering to back you up on a project, or even a partner telling you they'd show up for a big event. Now, how many times did they fall short? If you're like most people, that list could be long. The problem with ignoring those missed promises is that it sets a dangerous precedent. It tells people that it's okay to waste your time because you're too afraid to call them out, or that you'll always forgive their inconsistency. And the more you allow it, the more it becomes a pattern, and you find yourself investing time and energy in people who don't take their commitments seriously. What? Accountability doesn't just mean pointing out when someone's done something wrong. It means holding them to the standard they've set. It's about saying, you said you would do this, and now it's time to follow through. The thing is, when you hold others accountable, you're also sending a message to yourself. You're reminding yourself that your time, your energy, your goals, they all matter. And if someone else doesn't respect that, they don't deserve a place in your life. But how do you hold people accountable in a way that is firm yet respectful? Don't assume people know what's important to you. Communicate your needs, your expectations, and the consequences of not following through. And here's the thing, when you're clear about what you need and demand consistency, you take away the excuses. There's no room for, oh, I forgot, or I didn't think it was that important. No, if someone's commitments aren't in alignment with your needs, that's on them, not you. Now, let's talk about what happens when you let people slide. When you don't call them out on their lack of accountability, you start to see other negative behaviors. A person who isn't held accountable for their actions will begin to push boundaries. They might start making excuses, trying to justify their inconsistencies. Or they'll begin to avoiding situations where they need to deliver. This becomes a toxic cycle. And before you know it, you're the one getting frustrated, feeling drained, and questioning why you keep investing in someone who isn't returning the effort. And when this cycle continues, it wears you down and makes you feel like you're not worth the effort. But the truth is, it's not about you. It's about them. When you refuse to let people off the hook, you stop the cycle. You start setting healthy boundaries that protect your time, your energy, and your peace. But here's the key. You have to be consistent with this. If you let one person off the hook without addressing the issue, you send the message that it's okay to waste your time. On the flip side, when you consistently demand accountability, you create an environment where people either step up or step out. The right people will rise to the occasion and the wrong ones will fall away. This is how you protect yourself from manipulators, liars, and time wasters. You show them that you value your time and energy too much to accept anything less than the truth and follow through. Accountability isn't just about calling someone out. It's about setting a standard that you will no longer tolerate anything that doesn't align with your worth and goals. So the next time someone makes a promise to you, watch how they follow through. Suppose they don't hold them accountable. Be clear, be firm, and be consistent. Because when you hold others to the same high standards you set for yourself, you free yourself from the grip of people who waste your time and drain your energy. Your life will be full of the right people, and that's when everything changes. Invest in growth-oriented people. When it comes to your time, the people you surround yourself with can make all the difference in the world. It's easy to get caught up in relationships or friendships that drain your energy, distract you from your goals, or leave you questioning your worth. But here's the thing. You have the power to choose who you let into your life. You don't have to tolerate people who don't align with your values or who aren't contributing to your growth. In fact, you shouldn't tolerate them. If you want to thrive and reach your full potential, you need to make sure that your inner circle consists of people who inspire you, challenge you to be better, and support you in ways that truly matter. The people who deserve your time and energy are those who encourage you to grow, whether it's professionally, emotionally, or spiritually. They're the ones who lift you up, even when you're feeling down. They're the ones who celebrate your wins without jealousy or competition and who genuinely care about your well-being. They push you to be better, not because they try to manipulate you, but because they believe in your potential. These are the people who invest in your success just as much as you invest in theirs. They know that your victory is also their victory, and they'll be there to cheer you on every step of the way. So what are you waiting for? But here's the flip side. There are people who don't add value to your life. These individuals, whether they're aware of it or not, are constantly draining you, pulling you in the wrong direction, and taking up space that could be better used to nurture the relationships that matter. They might not always do this intentionally, but over time, their negative energy, lack of support, and selfish behaviors chip away at your motivation and self-confidence. Listen, they may be stuck in their own patterns of mediocrity, and instead of encouraging you to reach for the stars, they try to hold you back, often without even realizing it. These are the people who make excuses, who never seem to have time for you unless they need something, or who only show up when it benefits them. The hard truth is that you can't afford to waste time on people who don't contribute positively to your life. Every minute spent on someone who doesn't have your best interest at heart is a minute you'll never get back. And over time, those minutes add up. You have dreams, goals, and a vision for your life. If you spend all your time appeasing toxic people or people who aren't interested in growing, you'll find yourself stuck. Worse, you'll start to doubt your ability to achieve the things that matter to you because your focus will be constantly divided between your purpose and the demands of others who don't value your time the way you do. The key to avoiding this trap is intentionality. Be mindful of who you invest your time in. Ask yourself, are these people helping me move closer to my goals? Are they challenging me to become a better version of myself? Are they contributing something positive to my life, or are they taking more than they give? If the answer is no, it's time to make some tough decisions. It's not easy to walk away from people, especially if they've been in your life for a long time. But sometimes it's necessary for your growth and well-being. You owe it to yourself to be intentional with your time. Don't just surround yourself with people who make you feel comfortable or who offer temporary validation. Seek out the ones who will push you, challenge you, and encourage you to step outside your comfort zone. These are the people who will help you achieve more than you ever thought possible. And when you make room for those types of relationships, the quality of your life will change drastically. You'll find yourself surrounded by people who are just as passionate about your success as you are about theirs. And together, you'll rise. So remember, it's not just about who you let into your life, but about the energy and purpose you choose to surround yourself with. If you want to reach the next level, focus on those who help you grow, who believe in you when you doubt yourself, and who genuinely want to see you succeed. And as for the rest, you don't have time for them anymore. In conclusion, protecting your time and energy is not just a matter of setting boundaries. It's about making a conscious decision to surround yourself with people who add value to your life. The secret to identifying liars and time wasters is first to understand your worth and never settle for less than you deserve. You have the power to choose who gets access to your time, and that choice can make all the difference in your journey to success. And remember, manipulators, liars, and time wasters will always be there, but you don't have to engage with them. Trust your instinct. Set clear boundaries and hold others accountable. Invest your time in relationships that challenge and inspire you, relationships that help you grow and elevate you to the next level. As you do this, you'll notice a shift. Your life will begin to reflect the energy and people you've allowed into it. Your time is too precious to waste on those who don't value it. And now you know how to protect it. So take action today. Be intentional with your choices. Stay focused on your goals. And remember, your time is yours. And it's your responsibility to make it count. If this video helped you see the value of your time and gave you the tools to identify the liars and time wasters in your life, make sure to like and share it with someone who could use this advice too. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more empowering content and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay focused, protect your time, and keep striving for greatness. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.